Imagine walking through a crowded shopping mall on New Year's Day when a sudden wave of terror hits the crowd. But people aren't running from a fight. They claim they're fleeing an unexplainable entity. Outside, the downtown grid completely locks up as over 60 police cruisers surround the blocks, shutting down the streets. Inside, shoppers claim their phones are completely blacking out, signals dropping to zero, and batteries instantly draining to empty. And deep in the corridors of the mall, terrified eyewitnesses report seeing towering 10-foot tall shadow people seamlessly gliding through the chaos. This is exactly what independent accounts claim happened at Miami's Bayside Marketplace on New Year's Day, 2024. The official police report points to a teenager brawl with fireworks mistaken for an active shooter complex. But the everyday people trapped inside those walls insist reality briefly glitched under the neon light. Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to Stay Strange. The Bayside Mall incident completely melted the internet when it broke. You couldn't open TikTok or X without seeing wild theories about what had actually went down under the Miami neon lights. And today we are putting the evidence side by side and looking at the official police reports versus the actual eyewitnesses so you can weigh the facts for yourself. Grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's jump into it. To understand why this night permanently fractured into one of the biggest urban mysteries of our time, you have to look at the sheer physics of the police response. The city's official explanation: a large group of teenagers had gotten into a massive fight. Some of them started igniting industrial-strength firecrackers inside one of the covered corridors of the mall. Since the fireworks exploded in such a confined space, the echoing of the booms made it sound like rapid gunfire, which prompted a terrifying active shooter response. But this explanation immediately ran into a wall of skepticism because of the scale of the deployment. For a standard active shooter report, a city will typically dispatch a heavy initial wave of 10 to 20 units. But on New Year's Day, Bayside Marketplace was swarmed by over 60 police cruisers, tactical teams, and emergency vehicles, spanning multiple jurisdictions, completely locking down the downtown grid. While officials claim the sheer volume was just hypervigilance and modern protocol, the sheer overkill of the response left the public wondering if the citywide assist call was triggered by something far more severe than a teenage disruption. On paper, the police say it was a chain reaction. Loud firecrackers in a crowded space equals a worst-case scenario protocol. But when you look at the footage of 60-plus squad cars completely paralyzing downtown Miami, it just doesn't feel like a normal response. Look, I get being cautious, but 60-plus cars? That is a massive citywide lockdown. And it's hard to look at that footage and just say, yeah, that seems normal for firecrackers and kids fighting. While the official police narrative quickly blamed the chaos on a standard teenage firecracker scare, a major logic gap immediately stood out. Despite an apocalyptic police response that completely paralyzed downtown Miami, official records showed that not a single person was ever arrested or charged for anything happening inside the mall that night. There were no firecracker tickets, no arrest for rioting, and no real suspects processed for triggering the massive stampede. And because the official record left such a massive void, the independent accounts from the shoppers trapped inside the corridor began to tell a radically different story. Witnesses who came forward insisted they weren't running from fireworks. They were fleeing from a sudden, overwhelming sensory distortion. When you dive into the actual internet archives from the hours following the lockdown, the descriptions from inside the walls are incredibly consistent. Multiple independent accounts claimed they saw 3 distinct bipedal figures exit a clothing store. They were described as towering 9 to 10 foot tall beings with unusually long, slender limbs and elongated torsos that defied human proportions. Some witnesses claimed the figures looked like shifting, solid smoke, blurring the air around them. But the most chilling detail was their behavior. Witnesses stated that these entities didn't seem panicked by the alarms or the sirens. Instead, they appeared completely sentient, standing perfectly still, turning their heads, and calmly observing the crowd of people running for their lives. What makes this so compelling isn't just the scare itself, it's the total lack of answers. Think about it. An unprecedented citywide emergency deployment happens, yet no one gets arrested for the actual event. Meanwhile, separate groups of people inside the mall are describing highly specific, sentient, slender entities. In an era where every single person carries a high-definition camera in their pocket, skeptics immediately ask the obvious question. If these towering, slender entities were actually walking around the marketplace, why isn't there a single crystal clear video of them? The response from the eyewitnesses only deepened the mystery. Dozens of accounts from that night claimed a highly localized digital blackout took over the mall right as the panic peaked. Shoppers insisted their cell signals dropped to absolute zero. Cell grids locked up and smartphone batteries instantly depleted to empty. Even more unsettling were the subsequent claims that people who did manage to record the chaos found their files mysteriously corrupted or wiped from their devices entirely. Rumors even circulated online that police checkpoints were remotely deleting media or confiscating phones before people could leave the perimeter. Despite this alleged digital void, a few raw pieces of footage managed to leak online, and the most heavily scrutinized video, the shot from a distance, shows a massive, dark silhouette moving smoothly right outside the mall entrance. The city's debunkers and groups like the Corridor Crew quickly stepped in, proving that a high-resolution, unblurred version of the clip simply shows 2 or 3 normal police officers walking tightly side by side between the cruisers. Yet to paranormal researchers, the way the dark shapes seem to effortlessly glide past the retail storefronts remains a permanent question mark. Honestly, the tech glitch angle is the part that makes this case feel so eerie. The idea of trying to record proof of something completely unexplainable, only to watch your phone screen freeze or your battery drop to zero, is terrifying. Now, we've all had our phones act buggy, but a simultaneous cell phone blackout in one specific area is insane. It definitely adds a layer of high-tech dread to the whole night. When you look at that greenish shape, do you see 3 cops walking in sync, or do you see a silhouette that doesn't belong here? Let me know down below. But to the truth seekers, the complete lack of official mall surveillance or police body cam footage keeps the archive permanently open. Even if the citywide blackouts were widely exaggerated online, the uncanny consistency of the people trapped inside the corridors describing the exact same towering, sentient, slender shadow beings ensures this case won't easily be forgotten. Ultimately, the night the grid locked up in Miami permanently changed the landscape of modern urban folklore. It really goes to show you that a mystery doesn't need to take place on a dark country road or a lonely forest anymore. It can happen right under the bright neon lights of a crowded downtown shopping center. It leaves us wondering just how fragile our collective perception of reality really is, and what might be hiding right outside the boundaries of the digital grid. But now I want to hear from you. Weigh the evidence for yourself. Was this a classic textbook case of modern mass panic dialed up by the internet? Or do you think a handful of everyday shoppers actually witnessed an interdimensional anomaly that night? Drop your theories in the comments section below. I am reading through them and I want to see what you guys think. If you want to represent the mystery, make sure to hit the link in the description box below to check out our limited Bayside Anomaly capsule drop. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the channel today. If you love this deep dive, do me a huge favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend who loves the unexplained. Until next time, stay strange and never stop looking up. Bye guys.